Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today for Town Hall Tuesdays at 12. Thank you for taking your lunch break or just any time that you have to spare to listen to this video because it's going to be very informative. Today, I'm going to give you a walkthrough of downtown. I went with a constituent downtown to see all of the different areas that are on the front of our bay, directly affecting Miami as a whole, not only Miami, but tourism, what our tourists see when they come to Miami. So you're going to see within this, I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties today. However, I've got some photos that are uploading directly to my Facebook page because you know wherever there's a will, there's a way. And I'm having a little bit of trouble like getting them into the presentation because of some storage issues. However, that is not going to hold us back from looking at our waste management issues, our homelessness, and basic services that are happening downtown, along with how we can actually stop this gerrymandering issue and an update of what is going on in the Supreme Court and what my tweets actually mean. So bear with me and let's get this town hall party started so that you can get back to work, just like you should be able to do within our local government. It shouldn't take you hours upon hours to have to go to City Hall for anything, but that's if we had people doing the right thing, which is not necessarily happening right now today. So I'm not going to cover gerrymandering until the end. So if you're here just to hear about the gerrymandering, you're going to have to wait and see what's actually going on downtown, because I want to make sure that you guys are aware of what is happening downtown as a whole and what our constituents see whenever they are downtown. So for right now, just for time's sake, 1 minute ago, you will see that I uploaded just a plethora of walkthrough photos that we were trying to get in my presentation. But this is the start of my walk in downtown. So you can actually see on the streets, we have a lot of marked pavement, a lot of marked concrete, even marked bricks. It looks absolutely horrific, but yet we are the same city that is going around graffitiing, marking, and rarely do we go back and clean up our own graffiti. However, businesses in Overtown and Wynwood are constantly fined for graffitiing their businesses. Matter of fact, yes, the businesses themselves are fined whenever their businesses are graffitied. So I want to thank Manolo Reyes for actually sending his team out to clean up some of the graffiti. No thanks to Sabina Kovo for being a part of the madness. So if those of you are online, you should be seeing me on YouTube, Twitter, or X now, whatever you want to call it today, whatever Elon has named us, and Facebook. So please make sure that you give a thumbs up. I have my mom moderating today. Barbara is away for a couple of days. However, she will be back shortly. So we are moderating. So make sure that you, and I will make sure to answer your questions. I really like to try to answer your questions as I go. I can see all of your questions from all of the different sources here directly in our studio. So, yes, we should be cleaning up this mess to start off with. So this absolutely annoys me. I hate seeing this everywhere because it makes us just look absolutely sloppy. But in this case, this is in Bayfront Park area run by Sloppy Joe Carollo. So no wonder it looks this way. The other thing that I'm noticing throughout the entire city is lack of maintenance in general when it comes to drains. Pretty much everything you're going to see is going to be Bayfront Park area and throughout the different parks. Some of in front of Perez, so I'll try to go through that. But in general, some of these same issues are happening throughout Miami. So I thought I would start there downtown because this is what everybody sees when they come downtown. And it surely seems like Joe Carollo, Alex Diaz, we need to deport him. None of them are listening. Sabina Kovo, I can't even like begin to describe, because had I been elected in the February election, you would have seen basic things like this already cleaned up. So it's rather disappointing. So one of the biggest things I want you guys to look at is if you have a drain in your area, and you can look in the drain and you can see your reflection, that is called water. It's called standing water. So it's no wonder we have mosquitoes everywhere and we have floods. So be sure that you are reporting this on 311. And then if you notice that these drains are not being pumped, please do contact me with the report number and I will follow up to find out why Sabina Kovo has not got the drains pumped for you, because this is absolutely critical. Think about it. If water is standing, this is a drain that had not just rained or anything that's this particular day, and water is standing. If water is standing on an average day, it's definitely going to be standing throughout the year. Definitely going to be standing when it rains. My apologies. So the other thing that I'm noticing is, there are some things that's being done throughout Miami, but this is just the view, like from one angle. And my constituent actually said to me, like we have these containers and they're placed throughout Bayfront Park. I mean, to me, this looks very sloppy. I don't know how you guys feel about it. Maybe you like it. When I look back at Bayfront Park and the original architecture and design, it definitely did not have containers that look like this, just kind of like, just placed, let's just say. It's like 𝐁𝐥𝐿𝐿. Listen, I'm all for container parks, everybody, okay? I moved from Las Vegas, Nevada, where I developed an entire container park with Tony Hsieh. Okay, the late Tony Hsieh. Yes, that's the chief happiness officer of Zappos. So I'm all about container parks. You can look it up. I'm a huge advocate of recycling and reusing. However, I was really disappointed to find that not only are we just like placing these containers and Joe's making his own container park on our tax dollars, but the plays that are produced in these container parks are only in Spanish. So, and by the way, most of the people downtown, the common language is English. Okay, so then we're starting to go into the port of Miami here. You can kind of see the look and the view of what we have going on. I noticed very much of a lack of grass. By the way, rocks are great for drainage, but you know what? Grass actually sucks up water, whereas rocks can sometimes leave water standing. So that's a couple of things that I noticed. And then obviously we're going to get to our homeless issue. So we pretty much have homeless people throughout Miami lying almost everywhere. Okay. I mean, this is just an example. I mean, this is just, one pass, one day. All these photos that I'm showing you, by the way, is just from one day. Okay, one day. Because I think that's important to show you what it's like on a daily basis, so that you don't think like, oh, I just like went on, 100 walks and gathered all these photos. No, this is one walk, one day. So we have a guy sitting up here on the fence. We have a guy laying on steps here. So this is what people see when they come. So even if they wanted to get like a really nice photo in front of the Torch of Friendship, yeah, that's what they're going to get. Okay. And then no thanks to Sloppy Joe and his team of trust. I call them the distrust of Bayfront Park. They have chosen to put these tacky FPNL solar panels up. Okay. So no one can tell me exactly how much energy we're getting off these solar panels, because common sense tells me that if FPNL came to every single one of us and said, hey, if you guys will put solar panels on top of your building, we will pay you X. And then we would not have these tacky solar trees everywhere, because this takes up valuable grass space. This is yet another piece of tacky concrete. So I think we have a choice, Miami, whether we continue, to allow these things to happen. Maybe you're happy with it. Maybe you're happy with this being one of your main signs as people come into Bayfront Park Trust. Notice this is supplied by the Miami Downtown Development Authority. This is going into Bayfront Park Trust, where 𝐁𝐫𝐢𝐠𝐚𝐝 needs to put his ugly mug. By the way, Joe, you should actually just get a non-pixelated high-resolution photo to go on here, because it's rather pixelated and your eyes look really weird, okay? And so, listen, these are, the girls are beautiful, don't get me wrong, but I don't think this is what we want on the front of our park. And by the way, this was supposed to have been for Memorial Day, 4th of July. Yeah. And so it's, there is American flag in the background, but barely. Again, you have Joe's orangeness going on. He loves orange. That's the color of his campaign. That's the color of his Team 𝐁𝐫𝐢𝐠𝐚𝐝 shirts that Miami taxpayers pay for. Team 𝐁𝐁𝐫𝐢𝐠𝐚 shirts, even though city employees are wearing them, which, where I come from, that would be considered communism. Whereas back in the day, we used to have basic things such as like little plaques. If a commissioner actually did something, okay, you didn't have to plaster your ugly mug and put it on a big banner on the way into our parks. So, here's what this looks like as a whole. This is directly next to the solar panels. So all of downtown Miami, from their windows, every luxury building has to look at Joe and his girls. I mean, if I were his wife, I'd be questioning him. I mean, I'm just saying, maybe she's happy about it. So this is, as we go through, I was taking photos of like interesting art, just zooming in. Speaking of which, I mean, make sure that if you are going downtown, let me scoot back up here. Okay. I'll just show you what I was looking at here. If you can kind of zoom in, somebody said, I think those are babies in the eyes of the sculpture. Sure enough, they are. So make sure you're like really looking for details as you walk in our downtown area. The one thing that actually caught my attention originally was that this particular statue looks like it's maybe about to fall over. It's trying to be secured by something. I thought this was kind of weird, that we should be looking into. And then, this is also a place, just so everybody gets an idea, this is our Bayfront Park walk that everybody is being told, is all grand. It's spectacular. So just kind of keep that in mind. As also, I'm scrolling through these photos. Whereas Miamians, I believe the majority of us really like things like the grass, but I just wonder why we need to keep tacky cones up next to our trees. Why can't we just clean up? I mean, our employees are basically telling me that, nobody's either told them to do that or gave them permission to do that. Whereas good employees in a good culture, they would know like this is not allowed. And I had seen about 3 or 4 golf carts go by that looked like maybe one was security. Anyway, under my leadership, we would easily have things like this picked up. So the other thing that we would have is, I noticed that it says, okay, there's construction in progress over here, but there's no construction going on. So all of this is shut down in this Bayfront Park, which could make a great dog park. So these are basic things that it would be really nice, for everybody to be able to, anybody in Miami could technically be able to get on the trolley, go take your dogs here, hang out underneath the shade trees, like look at the benches. But this is what we see now. The other thing that I noticed is you can see the grass in between the concretes. This drives me nuts. And again, more graffiti on our sidewalks. This should all be cleaned up. So this just kind of gives you an idea of some of the things that I would have done. The big portion of downtown, let me see if the next photos maybe zoomed in a little bit better. This is actually supposed to be a massive fountain. It has not run in a very, very long time. And, this fountain is really about the size of a city block. And it just makes me wonder, like, why aren't we running the fountain? We're saying that the city flooded, so obviously we have plenty of water to deal with, right? So we're not in a drought. So why isn't the big fountain running? So under my leadership, the fountain will be running. The other thing that we have is we have a great area that is a sandy, beachy type area directly on the bay in downtown that used to have Adirondack chairs, some beautiful chairs that you could just go sit out at. Since COVID, they've been missing. Can somebody please tell me where our chairs are? I mean, we would just like to be able to sit on the beach without having to take a chair out because, people aren't wanting to take clunky chairs in their elevators downtown. I mean, these are just basic commonsensical things. And there's no parking, so things are not, very close. And where are the chairs, Joe? There are some fun things that I did want to bring to your attention that are downtown, such as these floating little tiki bars. So if you guys would like to go with me out to on a tiki fun float tour, please let me know. Oh, Jessica Bordeaux says a $2 million study is going on to be conducted why the fountain hasn't been working. Oh, a $2 million study to find out why the fountain isn't working. Wow. Okay. I'm sorry, guys, but my money laundering radar is gone up. It is going off. The ticker's already all the way over. Jessica, thank you for letting me know that because, with some of these things, it's absolutely ridiculous. This is an unbelievable, to me, this is despicable. Okay. This is a pile of garbage right at Bayfront Park. This is where people walk. Where are the trash cans? And why did we let this get to this magnitude? Okay, this is disgusting. We have the Downtown Development Authority. We have garbage and waste management teams. We have park authorities. Why is this way? We wonder why there's trash in the bay. Look at this. This is ridiculous. Okay, this could easily be picked up. Again, all under Joe Carollo and Sabina Covo's leadership. This is a little area I wanted to bring attention to. Sorry to show my face on everything, but this is me walking the day that I took all of these photos. And there are some really cool areas that are to, if you're on the bay, if you're on Bayfront Park and you're facing Perez, so north of Perez Art Museum is where you will find these really cool concrete radio pieces. And this is in a little area that is actually really close to, hold on, I'm going to come back to that in just a moment because I want to show you this particular area that I'm talking about. Oh gosh, there's so much we have to go over. I'm going to have to do it faster. Okay, here we are. Okay, so in this particular area, there's basically like a homeless encampment, creative homeless encampments. Okay. They have taken old brush and everything and made themselves, a home. So this is directly next to Perez Art Museum, probably on property that they are supposed to be maintaining. Okay. So this is how crazy this is. So this is directly next to the expressway. So what they do is they put up leaves on the expressway. They have hidden themselves out. Listen, if I were homeless, I might actually go here, to be honest with you, because this would be the quietest little place. It may seem like, yeah, you're on the expressway, but this is what it really looks like, you guys. I mean, there's garbage everywhere. There are tons of water bottles, I mean, it just looks so unkept. It's ridiculous. So technically Perez Art Museum, if they are in charge of this, should be fined. If Joe is in charge of it, he should be fined. So let's go back let's see. We're going to go back to another part here. We're going to go to under the bridges, and I want to show you what's actually happening under the bridges. So this is directly next to the train tracks. So we have tons of issues with broken sidewalks, broken everything. And I'm going to tell you, this was not worked on that day. It's like we're starting all these projects and nobody's actually finishing anything. It's taking forever, a ridiculous amount of time. We also have a lot of illegals. This lady, if you ask me, was most likely clearly an illegal. And she was bathing on our sidewalks and, camping out with her buggy. Listen, she was very nice when we stopped to talk to her. But the reality is we have a huge issue with homelessness because our government officials are not putting their foot down so much as the Miami International Airport. They are not stopping the immigration that's coming in. Even our governor is not stopping the immigration coming in, and he completely has the authority to do so. So if you have a problem, please make sure that you are contacting the governor's office and asking him why they are not stopping. Jessica says she's been asking for trash cans to be added in the districts for a decade. How hard is it to get permanent cans and regular pickup? Jessica, you're exactly right. A matter of fact, last February, when I was running, I actually contacted Waste Management. They told me that they were getting new garbage cans in and that they had them pull the old garbage cans, which was an absolute, that's absolutely absurd. They should switch them out the same day. They also told me that when they are getting the garbage cans in, the garbage cans are rusting. The garbage cans are rusting simply because they are not powder coated, because whoever is ordering these garbage cans, which is probably the city manager who used to work at the Miami Parking Authority and who has never run a city before, is probably the one responsible for ordering the trash cans or hiring the person that is supposed to be ordering the trash cans. What I'm finding is throughout the entire city, we have a lot of great smiling faces, but we don't have a lot of knowledgeable employees who are experienced at knowing what to order, knowing what is going to last. So one of the commitments that I've made in my campaign, because I am very experienced in manufacturing, design, architecture, that I will personally be overseeing a lot of the ordering when it comes to actually before I agree to something. I want to basically see the order because I want to know, are the trash cans powder coated? I can help with questions to be asked in basic terms that are being missed, and it affects our entire city. So in other words, when we do get a brand new trash can in, it will not start to rust immediately. It shouldn't rust for about 8 to 10 years, like even on the Bay, if the trash cans are powder coated. But currently, right now, they're not powder coated. They're just being painted. That does not work. That may have worked in a third world country because that may be all that they have. But in America, we have powder coating capabilities right here in Miami. And matter of fact, those trash cans could actually be produced right here in Miami. If it were under my leadership, we would be producing them right here so that we would not have to haul them from China or support the Chinese Communist Party. The other thing that that we noticed going through is that in downtown, we have these big, huge parking lots. The parking lots themselves are not created so that or not designed so that we have the correct drainage. So in other words, it's called a slope, and you have to have a certain degree of slope. It looks like this parking lot never had anything done correctly. It was not graded correctly. My dad is actually in grading. So for those of you who wonder, like, how do I actually know some of these things? So you actually have to have it graded at a specific level in order for water to flow off evenly and it to actually drain. And then on one side of this parking lot, there should have actually been a drain installed. Our building department should have never approved this parking lot, but sadly, not only is this parking lot sit empty the majority of time, but we're just not utilizing it all the way around, but we are also making it an mosquito infestation right next to Bayfront Park. Then, here's what we have. If you want to sit on a bench in Bayfront Park, you want to take a little break because it can be a long walk, you would have a hard time finding a bench some days because, they're very comfortable for the homeless to sleep on. There have been a few things, balls that have been added to some of the benches. And I think we may see that a little bit later on as we go through. But I have a problem with even that design for the process because it would basically keep employees from sleeping on the benches. So this is even another, this may be just a regular guy that's like kind of come to take a break. I don't know. I mean, there was this, garbage over here. I'll say we have some of the most sophisticated homeless people in America. I'll say that. And some of the cleanest, because we have people fleeing our city for lack of housing and lack of support. And rising home prices in general and rising rents. Then we have on the bay itself, when our commissioners are talking about all the seawalls being replaced and how great our seawalls are, well, I would like an answer on this one because and I have one directly outside of my house as well that looks actually even worse than this that I'm not going to show you right now because I just wanted to show you this particular downtown walk so that you could see what's actually there. You can see big, massive chunks taken off. And then not only this, but look at all of the broken debris. This is actually supposed to be like when boats come in so that they don't actually hit the side of the wall. So you can see what happens when these pieces are ordered. Typically, these are rubber. This is actually an Army of Engineers issue. I have contacted the Corps of Engineers to see what they can do to help us get this fixed. However, they're most likely going to come back and say, well, the seawall repairs are yours, but I'm going to try to make a means to that. I am curious. You guys should ask your commissioners if they even know who to call in this circumstance, especially before they happen to see this town hall video, because I feel like in a lot of cases, like some people don't even know who to call yet they're running for our local government. So this, you can see how many of them are actually missing and why our seawalls would be damaged from boats. And then aside from that, let's just say we had all this fixed and you say, oh, Christy, like how can we prevent this from happening in the future? Because, while some people are out touting resiliency, to make things resilient, number one, we have to have police to be able to actually fine any of these boaters who are running into our seawalls and who are not controlling their own boats. Therefore, we would need cameras so that we can send the boats a fine if they do happen to hit our seawalls, because they should know how to manage their boats. Just like if you and I in our cars run over something, somebody sees us and we break something, we have to pay for it, right? Same for them. Same for boating. Okay, when it comes to development in Miami, so let's talk about this a little bit. Let me just explain to you what this leads to. So there's a development going on directly next door to my building. It's called the Una Residences Project, and it's by a development called 𝐄𝐥𝐿 Group. So 𝐄𝐥𝐿 Group will come in and they will hire a lot of contractors that actually wear these lime green shirts like you see here. And those people cannot afford to live in Miami while they work. So guess what they do? They are homeless and sleep under our bridges. Okay, so that is an extensive problem. So whenever we have development going on, we need to make sure that they actually supply their own contractors with workforce housing so that they are not on our streets utilizing and making a mess for our government employees to pick up. So this is an example of what you see here. The other thing is, speaking of, debris in general, let's see, somebody says, oh, Miami has a lot of wonderful resources that when cared for properly would be world-class. Yes, you're correct. Insta weight loss. You're exactly right. If they were cared for, it would be absolutely amazing. That is true. This is basically back. Okay, so we're going to skip over some of this because we've already talked about it. Let's see what else we have here. I think that's it. There are some issues too that I want you guys to be aware of. I'm going to try to keep these as short as possible so that I can bring them to you every week and you guys can listen. But does anybody have any questions or anything for me regarding this? I'm going to take you next to my Twitter feed and discuss the gerrymandering for those of you who are interested in hearing what is going on at the Supreme Court level with the gerrymandered lawsuit. I do want to make sure that you're aware of who is involved or who, what is actually occurring with the lawsuit. So let's go there. So in the city of Miami, there we are live, by the way. So we're live on Twitter, live on Facebook, and live on YouTube. So for those of you not aware, the gerrymandered lawsuit made its way to Supreme Court. Okay, I put the docket number here for everybody so that you could go directly to the docket. So that's where I'm going to go. And again, this is on my Twitter feed. I will make sure that we cross-post everything over to Facebook today. But in the Supreme Court of the United States, basically we have an entity that's suing the city of Miami called Grace Inc. So Grace Inc. is just an organization probably created in order to create this lawsuit because the ACLU, 𝐁𝐥𝐥𝐿𝐿 Miami, and other entities have fallen under this particular corporation for their own protection. What does that mean? So that the city cannot just come back and sue them for any known reason. And they can, oh, sorry, I just realized I wasn't sharing this page. Okay, so Grace Inc. is the lawsuit actually suing the city of Miami. And that is where you will find this here. So the lawsuit is called Grace Inc. Versus City of Miami. So what I wanted you guys to realize is, this is basically an amicus brief that was written regarding the lawsuit. But interestingly enough, this amicus brief was written by the National Republican Redistricting Trust. And while I'm a Republican and I'm a very conservative Republican, but I like to listen to what everybody says. At the end of the day, I just want my services delivered, most likely probably like you do as well. When it comes to national issues and national level, I don't agree with anything either party does. Matter of fact, I am actually sometimes even banned from my own party. So when I'm saying this, the National Republican Redistricting Trust, in support of the respondent, well, who is the respondent? The respondent is the city of Miami. Okay. Who is the National Republican Redistricting Trust? Well, there are two Republicans currently on our city commission that I think most of you do not agree with. When we have issues in the city of Miami and we look to see who is at the root of these organizations, we would most likely find that your Commissioner Alex Diaz de la Portilla, who is also the Republican Executive Committee at the state level, is also in charge of not only the city's response, but of this National Republican Redistricting Trust response. So then when it goes to Justice Clarence Thomas, we will most likely find that Clarence Thomas will think, well, gosh, the Republicans are all game for this. And that cannot be further from the truth. Trust me, I'm trying to get a message to him through some other sources. And I have also contacted the news media about this. So it'll be very interesting to see if they actually report, because I'm taking you to this document because I want you to see the first few pages are cases that they cite. But they also claim this amicus brief is from the National Republican Redistricting Trust. They do not have any parent corporation. They are not publicly held by 10% or more regarding stocks. And their goal is they are tasked with coordinating and collaborating with national, state, and local groups on a 50-state congressional and state legislative redistricting effort. First, it aims to ensure that redistricting faithfully follows all federal and constitutional and state statutory mandates. It is the state legislatures that are largely entrusted with redrawing the state's electoral districts. Every citizen should have an equal voice, and laws must be followed to protect the constitutional rights of the voters. Second, they believe that redistricting should result in districts that are sufficiently compact and preserve communities by respectful municipal and county boundaries, and avoid forced combination of disparate populations, disparate populations, such whenever possible. Such districts track the principle that gives legislatures representatives, individuals living with identifiable communities and not the political parties themselves. I agree with that part. Okay. It shouldn't be about district parties or anything like that. However, they're the ones that actually made it regarding district parties, not the ACLU. Okay. So that was very clear from the commission meeting. Third, and most importantly, in my opinion, they believe that redistricting should make sense to voters. Each American should be able to look at their district and understand why it was drawn the way that it was drawn. I agree 110%. What I do not agree with is that your commissioners currently have been allowed to, number one, move out of their district and go over US 1 to include themselves back in their district. So 𝐁𝐫𝐞𝐜𝐿 moved to District 2. He went over US 1 to include himself back in District 3. Okay. He should actually be running in District 2, but he knows he will not win District 2, even though he runs Bayfront Park in District 2. See, he already has all that he wants to run in District 2. He doesn't really want to have to deal with you as constituents. He wants to be able to control people in District 3. He gives them abilities to put their faces and things like on the signage that you saw in exchange for votes. And then he goes in and actually harasses the business owners, costing taxpayers upwards of $63.5 million, even in that one lawsuit. However, I do not claim that he's going to cost taxpayers that money, because if we have the right commission, guess what? We can lien 𝐁𝐫𝐞𝐢𝐨𝐧's own personal house, because it is not in his duties as commissioner to go into businesses and try to initiate a fine. That is not part of his duties. Okay. It is not his duties to go through and report everything that he sees, especially going out and looking for it. And they are very well aware that that is what he has been doing. Joe has been doing that. They were able to prove that to the point of $63.5 million. So we need to make sure when it comes time for the election in November that we elect me and we elect a couple of other people that are extremely important. So I want to share with you how you can get involved. This is my website, Christi for Miami, and that's CHRISTI, the number 4 Miami.com. I want you to make sure that you are getting ready to vote. You can vote by mail. You can register to vote. You can even check your status. So here's what you want to do. You want to check your status, make sure that you have your voter registration card. If you want a mail-in ballot, you can also do a mail-in ballot, and it's an easy thing for you to be able to do. If you do choose to do a mail-in ballot and you're going to be out of town, please make sure that you are prepared to vote even while you're away, however that is. So make sure that you, if you're pre-voting, whatever you're going to do. So make sure that you are prepared to vote. The other thing that you can do if you want to vote by mail, You will simply need to go to mail ballot request service. This is also on my website. I have all the links. If you just scroll through to the bottom to the area that I just showed you right here. Okay, so you're going to scroll down to get involved. What can you do? So register to vote, check your status, make sure that you are ready to vote, because we find that, although you may want to make the change, you will have to make sure that you are prepared and ready to vote, because I do much more outside of the city of Miami for the city of Miami than any of the other commissioner candidates that you have. Okay. They are about their interest. They're about special interest. And the majority of them are actually hiring employees. So make sure that you are also following me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Nextdoor, wherever you can follow. Make sure that you are following. Make sure that you are engaging with your neighbors. I do have flyers that I can have somebody drop off at your house. We also have yard signs. You can come and door knock with us. You can do phone calls with us. Speaking of that, right here, number 3, you can offer to help. So, please do offer to help. There are lots of ways you can help. You can send text messages. You can make phone calls. You can also donate. You can chip in, because just to kind of give you an idea, to send a mailer is in the thousands of dollars. That is the reason, you're getting mailers from people who have support from big developers. If we want to get rid of the issues, we have to get rid of the problems. So we cannot take money from our problem children. Okay. So we need to think about it like that. I have actually endorsements not only from Miami Independent. So I have been endorsed by Miami Independent, and also been endorsed from a lot of neighbors. So make sure that you do go on and look at that. We are fundraising. We do have a PAC that Barbara has started, a Citizens First PAC, because we are about citizens first, because the only way that corruption can exist is for good people to do nothing. And I promise you, I will do something. So if we don't have any other questions for today, I'm going to sign off. I think I've answered everybody's questions as we've left, because I do not believe in also wasting your time. I don't like people to waste my time, and I certainly don't want to waste yours. And I'm very blessed to have you here and have you listening and be involved in your local government. And you guys can feel free to hold me accountable to these words, but please do make sure that you are involved. Okay. Thank you, and God bless you. Get out there, do something. And one more thing. Hold on, one more thing. Let me make sure I share this with you. One of the fun things, if you would like to join me at Vizcaya this Wednesday, so tomorrow, this Wednesday. Okay, so Vizcaya is one of our most beautiful and actually my favorite property in Miami. And Vizcaya is an amazing, beautiful garden and historic home. And it was actually our first seaport here in Miami. So make sure that you do join us at Vizcaya this weekend and, tomorrow for the 𝐁𝐫𝐢𝐠𝐚𝐝 Social. It is completely sold out. However, if you would like to text me at 305-390-1982. We may end up having, do have a wait list. So we're trying to get them to add some more tickets, seeing if we can do that. So please feel free to make sure that you do go on and text if you would like to join us there. Okay. Thank you, everybody. God bless you. I look forward to seeing you soon.